Alright, what is up everyone? We're going to be trying out some First Strike Ezreal today. So I've been testing this rune a lot for the past, like, I don't know, 50 games maybe? Probably a bit less than that, but I've been playing the rune a lot just to test it out. Even when I first started using it, I thought Conqueror was better, and even now I still think Conqueror is better, and I'm going to give my reasons and sort of just thought process on that. So the problem with First Strike is you don't really get a whole lot of value out of it early to mid game, and my biggest issue with it is for Ezreal specifically, right? And I guess, well, not for Ezreal specifically, but just in general, the rune, it has a hidden passive called Not Second Strike, which basically, if you have the rune available to you and you get hit by anything, like it could be a damage over time ability, you get hit by like a Zyra plant auto or just MFE or something like that, it'll go on cooldown, so you just can't use it at all, which is really unfortunate. So there's a lot of situations where fights will happen and you either don't have the rune up, or the rune, you know, gets taken from you by just one hit, and then you're basically going into a fight early into the game in 2v2s or 3v3s bot lane or whatever happens with no keystone rune basically. And it's a lot of situations like that arise, especially in higher MMR, where it just feels like it just sucks, you know, like you just don't have a keystone for some of these fights. And even if you did have the keystone, it's 10% damage for 3 seconds, whereas Conqueror will last throughout the entirety of the fight, you know. So a lot of situations like that arise where it just kind of sucks to not have it. But we're going to be trying out First Strike again this game. The most success I've had on this is probably maybe like 1.3k gold, I think, and that was like a pop-off game where I'm just like shitting on people, right? So of course I'm getting like a lot of value out of it. The reason I think Conqueror is better is because, especially in higher MMR, having those stacks of Conqueror stacking up in a fight and actually lasting the entire time is extremely helpful for Ezreal. And it really helps you get out more damage in the early to mid game team fights where you're just not really getting a whole lot from First Strike. But the pros of First Strike, I will say, is that if you get to like the 25 to 30 minute mark and onwards, you actually can like accelerate your late game build super quickly. The problem is, like I said, this is for higher MMR stuff, is that you usually can't even get to that stage of the game anyways. Most games end between 20 to 30 minutes. If I'm being generous, probably like 25 to 30 minutes, you know, if I'm being nice, but realistically 20 to 30 minutes is when games are decided, and that's really when the rune kind of ramps up. The problem with this, so the thing about First Strike is like you get that 10% damage converted into gold, but of course early on in the game you're not really doing a whole lot of damage, so that 10% is like measly gold, right? Like you get to like 5 minutes into the game, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, you like get your first back off, and then you look at your First Strike and you're like, wow, I got like 90 gold with this thing, 100 if you're lucky. Right? So it's like hard to proc this consistently, especially when you get taken so easily. And I guess really depends on the bot lane matchups, the 2v2, but it can get yoinked pretty easily, and then you just don't have a rune, and then if a fight happens, you're just kind of like useless without Conqueror, and overall it feels kind of bad. Those are definitely like big cons to the rune. If it didn't have that passive of getting stolen basically, or it goes on cooldown after you get hit, then I could see this being pretty good, being able to proc it a lot more and actually get some use out of it a bit earlier in the game. But for the most part, it's very inconsistent rune. That's the problem I have with it. It's definitely good on some other champions, like I've seen Victor popping off with it, and I even saw Karthus in one of my games, like Karthus mid, and he just pressed R on cooldown when he had First Strike up, and like by 25 minutes he had 1500 gold with it. Which I'm not necessarily sure that's a good strategy, but regardless, you know, I've seen other champions succeed more with the rune than I have with Ezreal over like 50 games playing this in higher MMR. So overall, it just seems like Conqueror is kind of like the better way to go here. But we're going to be trying it out this game. Those are just my thoughts on the rune out after all the games I've played. We'll see how much gold we can get stacked up this time around. We're up against Caitlyn Rakan, so Caitlyn can definitely steal our rune. You don't get pretty easily with her extra range. And Kha'Zix on the enemy team has First Strike. That's interesting. I've actually been seeing some junglers take First Strike too and actually getting some success out of it. I think like Assassins. Like I've seen Kayn do it. Kha'Zix, a bunch of other junglers. Our team comp is looking alright, I'd say. Not too bad. Nice, so it was a pretty good trade. We take those. Did he use his Q? Oh, he did. Huh. Yeah, don't know about that one. We didn't even have ignite pressure because he already used it earlier, so. And I'm not level 3, so I don't really know what that play was. That sucks. My Blitzcrank was kind of like AFK behind me, not really doing anything. There's nobody. Oh, actually, he probably gets cut off here by. Oh, he doesn't have mana. Could have killed her. That's unlucky. Okay, got some good damage there on Caitlyn. There's one nice thing, if you can time it right, you actually can get some decent damage with this rune off. Go help our team here. Creepy kill right there. Nice. Oh, I have no mana, dude. I need an assist or something, yo. Go, 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 go. Okay, well, he has Shen ult now, so even if Rakan walks up, we don't have kill pressure anymore, so. Not a bad fight, though. And we're up like 23 CS right now, so that's good. 114. We definitely need to get our tiers. We've been kind of out of lane, or in lane with it for quite a while now, so definitely need to get that, start stacking that up. My mana meter's probably going to be late this game, but oh well. Also, I'm going to go Trinity Force this game just because, why not? So let's see, right now with our first strike, we're at 129. This is actually not bad. This is a little bit more than I usually get. Maybe it's because I'm playing on like a Plat 1 D4 account, but instead of like my Masters Plus account. But usually it's only like 100, dude. I swear, it's like hard to practice sometimes. But also, I mean, we're playing up against like a melee support like Rakan, so it's a lot easier for me to like proc it more without getting it stolen. Put on cooldown randomly from just random hits, you know, so. Again, the rune's just really inconsistent, so it's hard to really tell when I'm gonna. Oh. The Mad Lad with the flash hook. Yeah, like that earlier fight though that we had, even though we won the fight, it would have been really nice if I would have had Conqueror, because then it's like a consistent damaging rune that I have for the entirety of the fight. Alright, nice. We got turret plate there as well, and it was solo turret gold, so that's huge. We're at 101 CS. 214, not bad. So even when we're popping off with this rune, we only have an extra 200 gold at 11 minutes. Which isn't, you know, like, terrible, but it's also not great. What does Kha'Zix have? It's 64. Okay, well, he's doing a lot worse, but yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for this item, even though I shouldn't. It's bad to do so. And Sion is ulting bot for some reason. Oh, because they took top already. Gotcha. Okay. Damn, Caitlyn dipped, just left her. Oh, cannon! I got it. Pog. Oh. Nah, he dodges those. He dodges those. No, dude. Dude, Shen had ult and he didn't ult me? Are you serious? Oh my god, bro. Why is he not paying attention, dude? Whatever. it'd be like that sometimes. Nothing I can do about it. Let's see. They're like mostly AD, so getting Frozen Heart here next would be good. And yeah, I'll just get a cloth armor since I can't even buy my mana immune right now. Sion is absolutely running it for turrets, dude. Oh my god, he just does not care anymore. Diana going for some 1v9 plays. Nice. Okay, that was like max damage I could get off there with that. See, in that situation, if you can just do that every single time, never get your rune put on cooldown by an ability, and just consistently do trades like that, then yeah, this rune is like pretty good because you'll stack it up in the later stage of the game a lot. I'm gonna guess he goes right there. Ooh, almost. Close. Kha'Zix is behind me. We're at 425 right now. This is actually a pretty good game. There's actually been a lot of games I've ended where I like barely had 500 gold. Just because I couldn't even proc my rune that much. But we're procking like a lot this game.
At least the first star didn't put me in one of those storm get-ups.
Okay, that works. I have like no mana, so top is getting very pushed in right now. I have Shen ult now. Okay. Well, that didn't really work. Man, they're just inting for turrets, so I don't really know what's going on. We're at 466 at 17 minutes. So yeah, usually about 20 minutes. I mean, this is like a really good game too. Like I'm proccing this thing constantly, and of course we're like Omega ahead as a team, so it's like super easy to proc it. I'm still only at like 466, almost 500. So what has this gold gotten me? It's gotten me pretty much a Warden's Mail at this stage of the game, with the extra cloth armor and like a little bit more gold than what I would normally have right now. So like I said, this rune doesn't really come online until like later in the game, when you actually deal more damage and get more gold for the damage you're dealing. So really, you also have to think about everything else that you're buying as well, in terms of like potions. If you buy a refillable, if you buy pink wards throughout the game, that definitely comes out of gold that you've gained from this. So really, in essence, it's not like entirely gold that always goes towards items too. It's a lot of like other things, and the extra damage dealt is like nothing really compared to what you get with Conqueror. I'll throw my ult here. Maybe it'll be useful. Maybe it won't. Who knows? Okay, it looks like it was. Nice. He gets the resets. Oh, that's so good. My ult actually helped that. It's super hard. Nice. That's free. They're all dead. Or Recon. So I go for turrets here. I mean, I can't end, but I can at least get the Nexus turrets, right? But I'll just go for end hip here. Alright, and they're all coming up. Time to leave. Alright, what are we at? 587 for 21 minutes. Trying to stop my back there. I can just wait for a little bit of gold. And my mana immune is super far behind. Oh, we have Cloud Dragon Soul and double inhib. Yeah, so even in a game like this where we're just hard stomping, we only have an extra 600 gold gained, which is like 2 cloth armors. It's yeah, it's not much. It's definitely not much. Diana is going in 1v9 and she's dead. Okay. I'm just gonna end the game. GG. Kind of felt like my team didn't want to play macro there. They were just kind of running around doing whatever on the map. That's fine. I mean, it is a little bit of a lower MMR game, what I normally play in. Alright, so I'm actually surprised I didn't do more damage that game, but there's just a lot of fighting happening. And at the end I was getting a lot of objectives, so So let me check the real stat that matters here. Total damage to turrets. There we go. See? That's the real stat that matters. See, and Sion was going for those turrets. All right, so overall, in a really good game, we got 653 gold gained out of that in 23 minutes. So that's 2 cloth armors and a potion with a total damage, extra damage dealt of 831. So, yeah. And that was a good game too. Like, I was proccing it a lot in like the early to mid game, which is not really too normal in games that I usually play. It can get taken, the rune can get taken and put on cooldown super easily just from any hits, from poke supports or just whatever, you know, an Ash W, Misfortune E, you know, all that crap. And then you just don't have a rune to fight with, which feels really bad. Now the gold gained, I do say it's like 2 cloth armors and a potion, but in reality, you have to think of it more like at certain stages of the game, right? Like for instance, I had the extra 653 gold, maybe about 600 by the time I went back to base. I don't really know what it was at this time, but I had 600 more gold to spend that I would not have been able to get this last whisper otherwise, right? When my last base this game. So in that realm of thought, I would have had like 800 gold instead of the 1450 on average. This is just guessing. So it allowed me to get an item spike at a certain time in the game, which is really what the rune is good for, right? It's not really, think about it just like, oh, just allow me to get plus 30 armor and a potion. It's more like, instead of having 2 long swords, I was able to have a whole fucking last whisper, right? Or even further along, I would have been able to get in the whole Cerildas earlier than I normally would have. That's what the rune is like technically good for, right? So I feel like maybe it would even be good with like Futures Market or something like that. I feel like combining those runes might make it even more effective. But honestly, in general, for Ezreal, I feel like Conqueror is just better. It's a more consistent rune that you're able to actually do stuff with in the early to mid stages of the game. You can actually participate in fights, and your auto attacks will actually deal damage and all that good stuff. And the kills that you'll end up getting and the damage that you'll end up doing from Conqueror in the early to mid game will more than make up for the gold that you wouldn't be getting from First Strike. Just think about it. You could be getting kills with Conqueror and actually winning fights or putting pressure on the enemy team that you wouldn't be able to do with First Strike sometimes, you know, depending on the situations. But overall, obviously, Conqueror is a more consistent rune. You're always going to have it. You're always going to have it up. You can always use it. It's easy as fuck to stack up to max stacks on Ezreal. And yeah, that's pretty much it. First Strike is not so great. I think in lower MMR, it's fine to use because especially if games go super long, like 40 minutes, you're going to have like 1500, 2k gold, which is damn near a whole item, you know, or at least half of one. So in that sense, you can get to your full build a bit quicker, but it's really only good on certain champions, and Ezreal does not feel like one of those champions. If you're actually wanting to be aggressive in the laning phase and push your advantages, get an advantage and push an advantage, then Conqueror is definitely the way to go. First Strike is pretty lackluster in that sense, and those are just my thoughts on it. I've been trying out First Strike a lot for the past like week since this has been out. Or at least, yeah, since this has been out on live, and it just really hasn't ever felt good, you know. It hasn't ever felt like it was impactful in any way in most of my games. Like I said, the most I've procced on this First Strike rune was like 1300 on Ezreal in like a 35-minute game, I think. But like I said, games don't normally go that long, and it's more important to have an impactful keystone rune that can make a difference in the games pre 20 minutes and pre 30 minutes, of course, even. So yeah, overall, I'd say Conqueror is still better for Ezreal. Would not recommend this First Strike rune overall, but it is fun to use. Sometimes it does feel good. Most of the time, doesn't though. Doesn't feel as good as Conqueror, at least. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully I was able to explain a little bit about why I think Conqueror is better overall. And that's about it. Have a good one.